Athena Mitchell has lived her entire life to achieve success at work. As an ambitious woman in a harsh corporate world, she struggled tirelessly to prove herself. Step by step moving up in the company, Athena not only faces fierce competition from those around her, but also gender stereotypes at work. Every day, she feels like she has to do twice as much as everyone else to be recognized. But today, Athena not only faces challenges at work, but also with the cracks she unintentionally created in family relationships. She was too engrossed in projects, meetings, and reports to notice the change in her partner, Ryan's emotions. Being an exemplary husband, Ryan always tries to support Athena in her career. But now he has gradually become a strange figure. When Athena came home after a stressful day at work, Ryan was standing in the kitchen, chopping vegetables. He didn't look at her when she walked in, his eyes focused on his work as if he was avoiding something. Athena quietly put away her bag, feeling something different in the air. She knew Ryan had changed, but didn't know exactly what. "Are you back so early?" Ryan asked, his voice unable to hide the coldness. Athena sat down at the dining table, looked at him intently, but didn't know what to say. In recent months, she felt the distance between them growing bigger and bigger. Short conversations, quiet evenings reduced to idle words, and terrifying silences. Athena wanted to ask him, wanted to know why he was avoiding her like that, but something in her heart prevented her. "Simon just called," Athena began, trying to break the tension. "He wants me to take the job at the Carson branch. The company needs someone strong to solve the problem there," she said, but the feeling in her heart was not happy at all. Ryan stopped cutting vegetables and turned back to look at her. "Carson? It's a 3-hour drive away. Are you going to be gone for 6 months?" He asked with an unhappy expression, as if it was already obvious. Athena couldn't help but notice the tension in his voice. She took a deep breath, trying not to feel pressured. "This is the opportunity I've been waiting for my whole life. I can move up, Ryan, and that's what I want." Ryan didn't say anything more and just continued cutting vegetables, but Athena could feel something breaking between them. Dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction lurked inside him, but Ryan didn't always say it out loud. He has always been a person who hides his emotions. "We already talked about it, right?" Ryan finally spoke, but his voice was lifeless. "I don't need your permission to do anything." And then he turned around and continued his work, like an emotionless machine. Athena did not answer. She knew in Ryan's heart the answer had been there a long time ago. Although he did not directly stop her from leaving, his absence from important decisions was more obvious than ever. Athena chose this career path, but she also realized that each of these steps not only changed her, but also changed their relationship. A week later, Athena officially accepted the job at Carson. This is a great opportunity, a turning point in her career. She prepares everything, arranges her belongings, and important meetings that she cannot miss. But there was no one standing next to her to help, no one to support her in trivial tasks, like before. Ryan had withdrawn, and Athena didn't know if he felt her absence or not. That evening, after Athena finished packing everything, Ryan walked into the bedroom. She couldn't help but notice the coldness in his eyes, as if everything was over. "Need any help?" he asked nonchalantly. Athena looked into his eyes, but then nodded. "No need. I can do it myself." Ryan just sighed and turned away, not saying anything else. With a landmark decision, Athena sent a clear message to her husband. Her career will not wait for anyone, and she cannot forever live in a marriage with too many empty spaces. She made up her mind, and when everything was ready, Athena was ready to leave for Carson. But it was more than just a business trip. It was an important step in her life and an end to her ambiguous and insecure family relationships. Athena felt ready. A week after accepting the job at the Carson branch, she moved to a completely new space. Not only geographically, but also a big challenge for her. Carson is a small branch, located in a remote countryside, where everything has a slow pace of life and does not change easily. Rumors about the place's lack of development had spread widely, and no one in the company expected anything to change. Athena clearly understood that to prove herself, She had to create something different. The company gave her this task not because they believed she would succeed, but simply because they thought she would fail. And that's why she decided to accept this challenge. No one can stop her, especially when doubts and pressure from the company and family are weighing her down. Carson is an opportunity for Athena to rise, to change and to assert herself. On the first day when she stepped into the office in Carson, Athena immediately felt the coldness of the air. The employees here are not interested in change. They do not believe in promises from superiors. Dave, the branch's head of development, was the person she faced first. He sat there, arms crossed, looking at her with skeptical eyes. "Are you sure you can do it?" Dave spoke up, his voice unable to hide the challenge. Athena didn't answer right away, but just looked back at him steadily. Every word she says from now on will no longer be weak or lacking in confidence. Every decision she makes will be carefully considered. "Sure," Athena said, her voice cold and firm. "I'm not someone who comes to fail, but I'm here to help you see what is right and necessary for the development of this company." Athena's words changed the atmosphere in the room. Everyone looked at her strangely, but no one dared to refute. She immediately got to work, meeting with each department, listening to employees' opinions, and finding out every little problem the branch was facing. Everything was new, but Athena sensed a subtle change slowly emerging. Even though things weren't easy, she persevered step by step. But after just a few days, feelings of anxiety about work began to invade her mind. That feeling was not because she was afraid of failure at work, but because the distance between her and Ryan was growing. Every call, every text from Ryan gave Athena a vague, unclear feeling, as if he had abandoned not only her, but also this marriage. One evening, after finishing a stressful meeting, Athena lay in her tiny hotel room, thinking about what was happening at home. While she was rushing into work, Ryan seemed to be drowning in his loneliness. A text message from him made her a bit startled. "I miss you," Ryan wrote. Athena looked at the phone screen, feeling a wave of emotions rising, but then she put the phone down. The feeling of absence in this relationship cannot be easily filled with a few empty words. She decided not to come back, not because she didn't love him, but because she needed to stand up for herself, for the career she had tried her whole life to build. A week later, when Athena was busy with reports, Ryan suddenly called her. His voice was weak, as if struggling with a deep sadness. "Are you okay? I know you're busy, but I can't help but worry about you." Athena was silent, not knowing how to respond. It's true that she's doing okay, but maybe not in the way Ryan thinks. She decided to spend this time on work, not on a relationship that is gradually falling apart. "I'm fine," Athena replied, but didn't feel confident about her answer. "You have to take care of yourself, Ryan. I have my job." These words, although gentle, cut deep into her heart because they were like an inevitable goodbye. Day after day, Athena continued with her work in Carson. Change starts with small things. She made bold decisions, reformed the Human Resources Department, and developed new plans to bring back profits for the branch. People began to feel the change in her. Gradually, the disdainful looks changed, and people began to believe in Athena's abilities. However, when success began to bloom, she realized one thing. Nothing could change the relationship between her and Ryan. She cannot continue to hide the fact that the two are becoming more and more distant, no longer sharing their difficulties and dreams. One day, Athena suddenly received an email from a strange address. In it is a video recording of Ryan and another woman in their own home. Athena felt like everything was falling apart right before her eyes. The video is clear evidence of Ryan's betrayal, and she feels like she has been betrayed not only by him, but also by the very values she once believed in. At this point, Athena knew that things had gone too far, and change was needed not only at work, but also in her personal life. That night, Athena didn't say anything to Ryan about the video. She kept silent, but in her heart, a decision had formed. Career, success, or anything else cannot compare to the price of a relationship that is nothing but lies. Athena decided that it was time for her to face the truth and end it all. There's nothing left to hide anymore. When she returned home, Ryan was there, standing at the door. "I know you saw the video," Ryan said, his voice cracking. "I don't know what to say, Athena. I'm sorry." Athena did not respond immediately, but looked straight into his eyes. "You don't need to apologize. You have chosen this path. As for me, I have chosen my path." These words were like a strong blow to Ryan, leaving him unable to say anything more. Athena just quietly walked past him towards the door without looking back. Athena's story doesn't end right there. She still has a long way to go. The next challenges will take her further, helping her rebuild her life and career from the broken ones. But one thing is certain, Athena is no longer the woman she once was, and she will never return to her lost days. Things began to change clearly when Athena felt she was no longer able to save this marriage. Ryan betrayed her, and not just a simple betrayal, but a big plan that was secretly orchestrated. Every day, Athena feels like an outsider in her own life. From the cold messages, the calls that no longer showed enough interest, to the way Ryan began to hide things from her, all created a blurry picture that Athena didn't want to look at anymore. And then, she realized something. She couldn't continue in that spiral. This relationship had left nothing but secrets, lies, and disappointments. So, Athena decided to face the truth again. A truth that is not just to free herself, but also an affirmation. She does not need confirmation from anyone else, not even from the man she once loved with all her heart. Athena stepped out of the darkness of doubt and began to look at the remaining pieces of her life, shattered as they were. She cannot continue living in a relationship full of lies anymore. One morning, after receiving an email from Henry Thompson about Ryan and Lila, Athena knew she couldn't continue. She needed to face what had happened and end it all. Although she still felt regret, Athena learned an important lesson. Nothing is more important than yourself. Nothing is more valuable than self-respect. She opened her email and began writing a letter to Ryan. She writes calmly, without anger, just the truth. "Ryan, I saw everything. I don't need to explain anything further. This relationship is over. I hope you will face the truth and reconsider your life." When she finished sending it, Athena didn't feel as relieved as she thought, but she also didn't feel as heavy as before. She understood that it was time to do it. She needs to move on, even though she knows that the journey ahead is not easy. But Athena is no longer afraid. She knows that nothing can stop her once she decides to walk on this path. Everything happened quickly. As soon as Ryan received the email, he called Athena. His voice sounded weak and a little panicked. "Athena, don't do this. I beg you, I will change." Athena did not rush to respond. She just remained silent for a moment. She knew clearly that Ryan's words were no longer valid. He had deceived her too many times, and she no longer wanted to hear meaningless apologies. "You can't change, Ryan. You've done unforgivable things. It's over." Ryan was silent for a moment, but Athena still couldn't hear any apology from him. She had made her decision, and nothing could change that decision. After that call, Athena felt like she had gone through a huge storm, but she knew that she would be okay. She no longer has to live in fear, no longer has to face lies. Athena began to look back at her life, wondering what she would do next. Once again, she felt free, no longer controlled by other people or past events. She began to rebuild herself from the broken pieces, looking for new opportunities and starting over. She no longer cares about the people who betrayed her, but only focuses on rebuilding her own career and life. Also around this time, Athena received congratulations from Simon on completing her goals at the Carson branch. The company has seen a marked change since Athena's arrival, and the results she has delivered are undeniable. The employees began to have confidence in her leadership, and the branch's revenue also began to increase. Athena feels like a different person, stronger, more confident. She is no longer the woman she used to be, who was always worried about pleasing others. Athena understood that she had found herself again. She has overcome challenges and difficulties in work and life. And now, she knows that everything has changed. She is no longer dependent on anyone. She is a change maker, and that is what makes her feel most proud. After all, Athena learned the most important lesson of life, that success is not about climbing the ladder of career or fame, but about the freedom to live the way you want, without being bound by unhealthy relationships or other people's expectations. That is the success she has achieved, and it is also the result of her journey to find herself. As Athena stood on the rooftop of her new office, looking out at the city under the sunset, she felt freedom fill her chest. This is not only a career change, but also a turning point in her life. She went through ups and downs, moments of doubt, and now she stands firmly on her own feet. Athena's eyes look into the distance, where new opportunities await. She knew that she would continue to rise. Nothing could stop her. And most importantly, she found herself again, without needing anyone's confirmation or acceptance. She just needed to believe in herself and her strength. And that was all she needed to continue her journey forward. After all the betrayals, Athena felt like she had been freed from a long nightmare. She began to rebuild her life from the broken pieces, rediscovering her own values and looking for new opportunities. Not just work, but also relationships with yourself and others. She realized that she did not need to run for anyone's approval, that she could completely stand alone, not depending on anyone. Every day, Athena feels a clear change in herself. Every step, every decision she makes is marked by confidence and strength. While the company is on the rise, Athena also gradually rebuilds relationships with those around her. But the most important thing is that she no longer allows anyone to hurt her. But even though she was much stronger and more confident, Athena still couldn't forget what happened. She couldn't completely forgive Ryan and Lila. But instead of seeking immediate revenge, Athena chose to quietly observe, letting every detail of their lives slowly begin to crumble. She knows that nothing lasts forever, and all lies will eventually be exposed. One morning when Athena woke up, she received a text message from Claire, her sister-in-law. The message was just one sentence. "Athena, I need to see you. There's something important." Athena didn't answer immediately. She felt a little nervous in her heart. I wonder if Claire is aware of everything and wants to ask her to forgive Ryan. But Athena has learned that forgiveness is not an easy gift to give. It had to be a choice, and she didn't think she was ready for that. Claire wants to see her, so Athena will, but not for forgiveness. She will face Claire, the secrets she has kept hidden, and will not let anyone hurt her again. That day, when meeting Claire at the cafe, Athena realized something important. Claire is not only someone who wants to ask for forgiveness, but also someone who is trying to hide truths that Athena has never known. Claire started to speak, her voice a bit confused and scared. "Athena, I know you've been heartbroken, but there are things you don't know, things I need to tell you." Athena was in no hurry. She just looked at Claire silently, waiting for an explanation. Claire bowed her head, seemingly not daring to look Athena in the eyes. "Ryan is not the only one at fault. I helped him. I did things that I'm not proud of, but I just wanted to help him overcome his difficulties. I never thought things would go this far." Athena raised her eyes and looked straight at Claire. "So why did you lie to me? Why did you play this scam with him?" Claire choked, but Athena's eyes remained cold, unforgiving. "I just thought that if we helped each other, if we could save the company, save Ryan, then everything would be okay. But now I realize I was wrong. I regret it." Athena said nothing more. She didn't want to hear those late regrets anymore. She had no more time to waste on meaningless conversations. She had endured too much, and now it was time for her to free herself from these things. "Claire, I don't need your apology. All I need is the truth, and I've had enough." Athena stood up, turned and left the cafe, leaving Claire behind with meaningless apologies. But before leaving, she left Claire with a sentence that made her think for a long time afterward. "I did everything to be able to stand on my own feet. Now, I don't need anyone anymore." Athena continued with her life, but part of her still couldn't forget what had happened. She begins to learn about what Ryan and Lila have been doing behind her back. One day, when Athena happened to check her email, she received a message from an unknown source. The message contained a link to an important document which contained information about Ryan and Lila committing illegal actions to appropriate the company's assets. Athena knew right away that this was her chance to not only get revenge, but also to punish those who had hurt her. She begins to collect all the evidence, information related to illegal transactions, and conversations between Ryan, Lila, and Henry Thompson. Step by step, Athena built a perfect strategy to bring all these people to light. After collecting enough evidence, Athena decided to meet Henry Thompson again. This time, she won't just say threats. She will make him pay for what he did. Henry Thompson, with his calm and powerful appearance, continued to try to maintain a poker face when meeting Athena. But this time, Athena is no longer the weak woman before. She doesn't need to smile or pretend when facing those who have pushed her into a corner. "Henry," she began, her voice cold and determined, "you no longer have control over me. What you and your daughter have done will all be exposed." Athena placed the documents on the table. Each piece of evidence was as clear as hitting Henry in the face. She doesn't need to say anything more. Henry knew he had lost. Athena not only regained her power, but also regained the respect she deserved. A week later, news of the company's scandal began to flood the newspapers. Ryan's stocks plummet, and the SEC begins investigating his and Lila's illegal actions. Everything Athena did, from gathering evidence to exposing everything in front of her major partners, helped her stand strong and regain control of her life. Not only did she expose the lie, but she also proved that her vengeance was not just about personal revenge, but about regaining power and respect for herself. Athena stood looking at all that had happened, feeling satisfaction and peace in her heart. She did the right thing, and now it's time for her to continue her journey. No more fear, no more weakness, only a strong, confident woman left, and never going back to the things that pulled her down. Athena sat in a leather chair in her new office, looking at the large glass panel in front. The scenery outside gradually brightened under the sunset, but inside she did not feel relieved. Things have changed, but not in the way she envisioned. She took revenge, exposed the lies, and regained control of her life, but the feeling of peace has not yet come. After the company scandal, Athena's life completely changed. She became the first woman in the company to reach the position of Chief Executive Officer, a step she had worked hard to achieve. But instead of feeling joy, she felt a strange emptiness. This success came so fast, and now she doesn't know what to do with it. She accomplished the career goal she had put all her heart into, but she realized that her career could not fill the void in her heart. The days with Ryan and Claire, the vows of love, all have turned to dust. Athena can no longer return to the past, but its traces still haunt her. She promised to never let anyone take advantage of or betray her again, but can she trust anyone again? Early one morning, as Athena sat drinking coffee, her phone rang. It was a call from Claire. Athena was not surprised. She knew that one day Claire would come to her, but this time was different. Claire is no longer the close person Athena once knew. She is part of a painful past that she is trying to escape. Claire said on the phone, her voice weak and full of regret, "Athena, I don't know where to start. I know I was wrong, and I know I can't undo everything I've done." Athena didn't rush to answer. She kept quiet, letting Claire continue. "I tried to do everything for Ryan, but I was wrong in not seeing everything he did. I didn't realize I was just a pawn in his hands. And now everything is broken." Athena sighed, her mind spinning. She can no longer sympathize with Claire. There is no more room for forgiveness. She knows clearly what she did. And even if she regrets it, she can't change anything. Athena coldly interrupted. "You don't need to explain anymore." "It's too late." Claire was silent. Athena could sense the disappointment in her voice, but she felt nothing else. There is no pain, no anger, just emptiness. Everything was over, and now Athena had nothing left to lose. She hung up the phone and looked out the window. She was starting to feel a little worried about the future. Still, she knows one thing for sure. She won't let her past hurt her again. Athena no longer needs to seek forgiveness or apologies from anyone. She doesn't need anyone's approval. She rose up strong from the rubble she went through, and she will continue to rise. She learned that real revenge is not about grand actions, but about living better, living freely and not letting anyone control you anymore. As Athena continues her work and faces new challenges, she gradually understands that life is not a series of perfections. She realized that standing firm in the storm was the most important thing. And she finally understood that in all that had happened, she had learned an important lesson. Every change, no matter how painful, leads to a new rebirth. Athena no longer looks back. She knows that, even though there are wounds that are difficult to heal, it is still part of the journey that brought her to this place. And now, Athena is ready for a new chapter in her life. A chapter where there is no betrayal, no lies, only one's own freedom and power.